Hey guys, it's PJ. Welcome back to my channel. I recently got a new hanging plant for my room. It's called a pothos. It's really good on water, and I like the fact that it just like hangs. It gives like a good aesthetic to the room. But I figured I might as well teach you guys how to do a macrame, like a really simple, like I'm talking simple way to do a macrame plant holder, because I know like there's other videos on YouTube and some of them kind of get like really tricky. So I just want to do really like bare minimum type of plant holder. So let's get started. Alright, so what you're going to need is a pot, any type of thing to hold a plant. One of these guys from Lowe's. They're really inexpensive. It was only $1 something, and that's going to be used just to mount the plant on the ceiling. And some bungee cord. This was, I think, 18 cents or 14 cents a foot, and you're going to want 8 long pieces of 10 foot each. So that's pretty much 80 feet of rope, and then just like cut them yourself. It's like pretty good material. It's pretty thin. That's why I like it, because my original macrame one is on the thicker side. But yeah, so let's get started. Alright, what you're going to want to do is find the absolute middle of the rope and fold it so it has 2 different sides, and pretty much just tie it around itself so it kind of like just hangs right there. And that's what you're going to use to have this hook thing. You're going to have an S hook, and then it's just so you're going to hang from that section, and then we can start the rest. Once you're all good with tying it on itself, just pretty much get anything heavy just to hold it down. That way, because when we start doing the braids, it is going to tug and pull. So for my plant, it's a little on the small side. So it's like a really small little plant, and then with the container, it's equally small. So you just think how you want it to, or like where you want it to hang from. So with all this extra rope I have, that's just going to be quite excessive. So I can let it hang as far as I want. So I'm thinking about starting my first round of braids, probably like about here. It's pretty much just eyeballing it, really, because if you try to get too technical with it, it's gonna get kind of harder. This is just gonna sit right above, or like even like towards this first inch or like half inch, whatever that is, of the bowl. So you can start braiding. Alright, cool. So what you're gonna do is have the strings be flat as possible, and then this part is like a little tricky. It takes some practice, I guess, just to get it right and flat. So what you're gonna do is just take the left string and then place it over the first middle 2 like this. But then I guess what you do is, so it's only over the first 2 ones, and then you have this right string, it's gonna go under the middle 2 and then out that hoop you made with the first string, and it should make a square knot. Like once I grab it through, sorry, it's like really long, and it's supposed to look like this, kind of like a trident. And then you just kind of like take those 2. So I actually want it to be right here, so you just kind of like tighten it where it's at, like that, and it will look something like that. And then to make the, because it's going to be 3 different levels, regular, opposite, and then regular again. So this middle line was going to be the opposite, so you just do the same thing but reverse. So take the right string, put it over the middle 2, and then you get that left string, put it under the middle 2, and then out of the right string, and then it's going to make a little square. And then when you tie these together, you have to make sure it's like pretty taut when you tie it. It's hard to do with one hand, but yeah, so it's going to look something like this once I get it. Ooh, I got it. You saw that? Dude. And then so it's going to look like this. Obviously way tighter, and then you do that another time, so a 3rd time, and then that's going to make the little square knot that you normally see on those type of macrame holder things. But yeah, so just regular, reversed, and then regular again. Okay, so when you finally have it all tied up, it's going to look something like this. It's really not that bad to do when you have both hands attached and able to do it. But yeah, so as you're doing it, just make sure that heavy object just stays on there. That way it keeps everything taut, so you don't have any, I guess, loose strings that makes it look kind of weird. But yeah, so you're just going to finish that with the other 3 strings, and then just pretty much just place your pot, because I guess these first row of notches is going to go a little above the pot just to keep the top in place, and then you're going to do another row that's going to be in the middle, and then tie it all off at the end right here to keep it together. But yeah, so let's just go ahead and finish all that. Alright, cool, so I'll do it one more time for you guys just because I know how confusing it could be. So what you're gonna do, I'll bring it down just so I can see it in the camera. Cool. So just make sure it's the same distance you want, I guess like the same height, and then you're gonna take it, make sure it's flat, and then left string goes over the middle two, like that, over the middle two, under the right, and the right string will go under the middle two, through that hole you made on the left side, and then you just bring that up while pulling the middle two just to give it the support it needs, as much as up you need, and then pretty much do the opposite. So right string will go over the middle two, under the left, left will go under that right string and the middle two, out through that hole, and then you just tighten it, and then it's gonna go regular again. So the same thing, left over, left over middle two, under right, right goes under middle two, out through the hole, and then you just pull it, and you got yourself a good box braid. So remember, it's first, what is it? It's first regular, opposite for the middle, and then regular again. And then you have it. And then once you have them all, just make sure they're relatively kind of like the same distance from the top string, because I know it's kind of hard to get it exactly perfect, but for me it took a couple tries, just because I know like when you're pulling it up you may not notice that this side is going higher than this side, so it just takes a couple of times. But yeah, so you're gonna look something like this, and then remember, just grab your pot. These are gonna be holding the top portion in place, and then you're gonna want another design right here towards the middle, so think it's gonna be somewhere, put it a little lower, so even right here, this distance. And what you're gonna do with this, you're gonna want to start forming, I guess, that circular or cylindrical base you're gonna do. So this part where it gets kind of confusing, so just get rid of these two side ones and these two side ones, and then you're gonna start pairing them. So these left two are gonna pair with those left two, these right two are gonna pair with these left two, and then same thing over here, and then eventually this side is gonna pair with this side, but that's towards the end because I know it gets really confusing. So remember where you want to have your middle portions there, I guess, and then you just start doing it. So once you have it all done, it's gonna look something like this, and then you could start working on the side too. So pretty much just folds it over, where this is the same as this. It's just all gonna match pretty much, kind of like that. And then you're gonna want to do these two, but make sure it's flat as possible. So I guess since this will be the outside, get it this side as well. I know this is not making a lot of sense. Alright, so when you're matching these guys, remember that this is going to be the inside portion, the ones that we were tying. So you're going to take it around, fold that left side over with that right side, and then, so I guess like once it's folded over, this will be the outside and this is the inside, so then fold this one over so you can get that same type of straight, or not straight, flat edging that we got for the, like when tying the first ones. And then just figure where it's gonna go to. Whoops, it's a little off, let me see. Alright, there you go, that's better. So make sure it's flat, because like this will be the outside, this will be the outside. So pretty much you just, once you fold this over, you're gonna twist this right one over so it could be on the outside part. Fold in half like that, and then just match them up, and then you can start tying. Alright, so when it's done braiding that last part, it's going to look something like this, and then finally you could go ahead and put your pot inside the actual macrame holder. So it's going to look something, once you pull it, it's going to look something like this. It's easier with two hands, let me tell you. And then you can go ahead and tie it at the bottom, and then it's going to look really cool. But yeah, actually, quick note before you decide to tie it, just make sure the top row is all even together and the bottom row is all even, and then just give yourself probably like, say like an inch to tie it, because technically this is going to be above the pot and this is going to be like middle or like at the end of the pot, and then so probably like give it like a ½ inch right here and then tie it along right there. And when it's done, it's going to look so freaking cool. Ew, did you hear that? What noise was that? I'm so out of shape. But honestly, like if you want to go like full with it, just pretty much just add, you could add as much as you want of the braids, because like I know that looks pretty plain compared to another type of macrame holder. I know a lot of them have like a bunch of braids going down the top part, but it's cool. I just want to do something pretty simple. But the weird thing is, when you tie it at the bottom, it kind of messes with the symmetry of the braids. So you'll see these two look fine, but then this one's lower and this one's even lower. Well, mostly just the pot. I think it came out really cool. I like the way the leaves are gonna start hanging, and then this thing is gonna grow like crazy. Pothoses love to grow, just make sure to water them. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. Hopefully it was easy enough for you, because I know some of them, they go really fast and they don't explain themselves. But yeah, if you liked it, just give this a like and subscribe if you want to. But yeah, thank you guys for watching.